Hey everybody, Dr. Tom Miller here. Just wanted to spend a couple minutes talking about some real critical skills that leaders need, right? Vision, empowerment, delegation, and follow-up, right? So let me just take these one at a time. I'm sharing this because during our inner circle today, I was walking principals through our quarterly checklist. We have, taken time over the years to put together just tasks, like tangible tasks that, principals and directors of schools are responsible for. And we've aligned them to our 10 indicators of high performing schools. So if you take a look at our list here, I'm gonna share it on the screen if you're watching this on our YouTube page, or this is when you download the checklist, this is what it looks like. And down here at the bottom, you've got these tabs, right? So we're here in the summer to the first 20 days of school. So each tab, there's each one of our 10 indicators. The first one's clear and sustained mission and vision. So what should a leader be doing, right? Or what should the organization be doing during those first summer days, or 20 days leading up to school? So we've got our state of the charter. We've got, making sure that we're, fully enrolled, focusing on the quality work at the school, which is indicator 2, just reviewing the strategic plan, looking at the curriculum needs. There's lots of pieces, right? There's thousands of tasks, that are in here. But they were asked, well, how do I use it? Okay. So vision, right? Vision. So you have to paint the picture of what success would look like. Okay. So if I'm looking at this one, prepare a script and hand out for the teachers to share communication channels, discipline policies, and expectations. So I'm like, well, what does that look like, right? So if I can communicate to my team, what would success look like in that project? Well, I want to make sure that every single teacher has, clarity on who do they go to for, certain situations, who is responsible for what when it comes down to discipline and overall just expectations as a teacher. And we've got checklists for all these pieces, right? So you can go ahead and email me and just put expectations in the subject line, tom@lbleaders.com, and I'll, send you ours. So you do that first 10%. It's the 10-80-10 principle, okay? The first 10% is you setting vision for them to do it. The next 80% is your team actually executing on the work, right? What would that look like? Now, once you do this once every year, you can kind of tweak it and make it better, right? You're building a year-by-year plan. And then the last 10% is you putting the cherry on top, right? You're taking it over a goal line. You're making that communication or that script a little bit better. And so one of the challenges that our leaders was having is, I asked them to do it and they don't do it. Well, a dream with a bad team is a nightmare, everybody, right? So you got to make sure that you're building a team that completes each other, a team that is cohesive, a team that, we're all like-minded, but we think differently, but we're all committed to the same overall results. And so a big part of this delegation and empowerment is ensuring that you know and understand the strengths of the people around you, right? So if I'm going to be preparing a script and a handout for the teachers, I want someone who's very detail oriented, right? Someone who could take all these, pieces and put it in a framework, right? Someone who could really help organize all of the thoughts, right? Someone who can make a flow chart for, communication channels, someone who can make a T-chart for, disciplinary pieces, or maybe a Venn diagram. I mean, someone who can organize something in a nice visual way, right? That's going to have all of the details. You don't want a very unorganized, person to do this task. This is a C style. And this is why I love the DISC personality profile. Maybe many of you who have actually taken our DISC profile. It's so important, right? Because it helps us understand, right? Are we deep, are we dominant, right? Are we, direct? We're really just about getting it done rather than how, how good it looks, compared to being a C style, which is too also task oriented, right? That cautious, compliant, but they're very detail oriented, right? They're the individuals you want, because they're going to make sure every I is crossed and every T is crossed and every I is dotted, right? Sorry. So that next 80%, and you're checking in with that person, right? You're guiding them through the process to get to the end result. So, depending upon the level of productivity and trust of that person, it all depends how often you're checking in with them, right? C-style people love quality instructions, right? Clear answers and feeling valued. So you got to give them a timeline. What do I want the end project, to look like, right? So you may have a lot of questions to answer. But again, you're taking the time. So I'm going to actually put a link in here for you that's going to let you download our delegation exercise, right? It's all these questions that the leader can ask themselves and write out to help them delegate the task to their team. So the first 10% is vision. The next 80% is them actually doing the work. And the last 10% is you taking over the goal line, right? So I talked about that. Now, having expectations, right? You got to give expectations around when is it due? What should it look like when it's finished? Because what you don't want to do is you don't want to take this task away from them. And this is where I failed as a leader. I would sometimes just say, oh, you know what, I got it, or I didn't explain it good enough. And then I ended up working myself extra hours. Okay. This is where you got to really take a hard look at yourself about control and, trust, right? These things you just have to let go, because, depending on where you are on your work chart, you're responsible for a lot, but you're not required to do it all, right? So you've got to empower and delegate to the people around you. And it's a critical part. So I'm going to put some resources in here. Check the links here to make sure you get them around empowerment, vision casting, all of those pieces. Okay. So I'm going to work through this, right? And I'm going to, there's all aspects for your organization. There's instructional pieces, there's operational pieces in this, checklist. There's, parent communication pieces. There's if you're in charge of the finances of your school, right? If it's a charter school or a private school or even a district school, you've got budgetary responsibility, right? So this is what I love about this checklist is that it hits all aspects of your organization and every single part of your school year. Summer to the first 20 days of school, day 20 through the end of the first quarter, second quarter, third quarter, right? Leading up to the end of the year. You can continually look at this list and start to put individuals' names next to who's responsible for what. And this leads your tactical meeting, right? You're constantly looking at this. It's being updated. So again, make sure you've downloaded this into your drive and make it your own. You've got editable rights on your own, right? You can't edit mine, but if you download it yourself, then you'll be able to make those changes, right? But the most important part is having a weekly set time, right, with your team, and also weekly time with individuals on your team, so you can make sure, right, that we're making the right progress, that they're spending their time on the right things. And that's where the expectations and accountability comes around. Because then as you're walking around and you're seeing Tom, who's working on something who shouldn't he be working on, say, hey, Tom, I happen to notice you were working on this. But just a reminder, we need this other piece done by Friday. Tell me where you are with that, right? That's not micromanagement. That's leadership, right? I mean, if you make a commitment, right? If you get people to make a commitment in a meeting, which every meeting should end with commitments, then you should be following up in the next 24 hours and say, hey, yesterday, you said you do this. What are some of your concerns? If you have any, how can I help? What's a good first step? But you're just talking them through to make sure that they have full awareness of your expectations of what they will be. Now, if they don't execute, we have a process for that. It's the VRUOL, right? Vision. This is what I expected to happen. R is reality. This is what did happen. U is understand. Help me understand. Like what went wrong? When did it go wrong? O is opportunity. This is where you're, leading them. You're giving them options and opportunity of how they can do it better next time, or just make sure that it gets done on time. And L is leadership. It's asking them, how could I have explained this better to make sure you would have got it done the first time? Okay. Critical parts, but important parts. It's all about leadership. It's hard, but you have to do the hard things. Okay. So if you haven't downloaded your, checklist, do it now. If you have already downloaded it, set a meeting with your team, make sure everybody has a version of it, electronically, so you can start to put due dates and individuals responsible, right, for some of these tasks. So hope this was helpful to you. If you don't have your copy, there's a link, right? And I'm also going to add some links of some resources about how to delegate and how to have that difficult conversation when individuals do not follow through. So, oh, and by the way, if you don't have a copy of our 10 indicators book, I'm going to put that link there too. So I have written a book based upon each of these 10 indicators of a high performance school. And so each of these indicators, right, I've written out what I have found as the best practices through all the schools that we visited and the leaders that I have had a chance to meet with. So download the ebook. It's completely free for you, and you could use it as a resource if there's one of your areas that are not performing well. There's a way to take a self-assessment and see where your school is, and then you can use the book and the other resources we have to improve your school. So go ahead and click that link, or you can go to my website, lbleaders.com. At the very top, there's a green bar that says download our ebook on the 10 indicators of high performing schools. It'll be in your email box in 30 seconds. So thanks again. Be sure that if you like what I had shared, right, hit the like button. If you want to, if you're watching this on YouTube, go ahead and hit the subscribe button. We would love to make sure that you get updated every time a new video comes out. Thanks, everybody. Have an amazing day. Bye-bye.